Alright, we're back everybody. In this video what we're going to be talking about is Earth's orbit. Now, science would have you believe that the Earth orbits the Sun with a transit, with its polar transit going below the Sun's equatorial plane. Now, in order for us to have 4 seasons, that's just impossible. It's magnetically impossible. So what I'm going to do right here today is I'm going to prove that to you in a short, hopefully as short a video as I can. So in this transit around the Sun's equatorial plane, we're below we'll just say the South Pole, and the direction of our polar tilt is always facing one direction, and towards the Sun, meaning that there's only one season. So as we go around and around and around, that's not changing. So something has to be happening in order for Earth's seasons to happen. Both sides both poles of our Earth have to face towards the Sun at some point. And if we're just going around the Sun in an orbit that's transiting only one side of the Sun's equatorial plane, that's just not going to happen. So let me show you how that's going to work here. So you see that the orbit is only offering us one side of a polar tilt towards the Sun itself, meaning that we're only going to have one season. So if the Sun were to flip, and now it's on the other side of its pole, during that flip, you can see that the ball is now resting on the big ball instead of the small ball, and it's going to be orbiting from that position on the big ball. So now we're coming around and we're orbiting on the big ball. And since we had a polar flip of the Sun, now we can have our 4 seasons. And you can see we're transiting around, and we have a nice orbital spin and rotation around the Sun itself. So what's happening here is either the Sun is rotating around its poles, and the Earth is going around the equatorial plane of the Sun, while the Sun rotates around itself, pole over pole, or we have a situation happening like this, where the Sun's equatorial plane is at 60 degrees, the Earth is tilted towards the Sun at 30 degrees, and as it goes below the equatorial tilt, the North Pole faces the Sun, and it goes around. As it's coming around, it lays flat, which is our autumn and spring, and then it comes around and it shifts. And now, oops, I made the wrong shift. I'm sorry. And now the South Pole is facing towards the Sun, and it comes around in this direction, where it lays down flat again. Or it lays down flat this way. I'm sorry. I've got the magnet over here making it do what it wants to do. And so it's coming around here from flat, and it tilts back up like this to where it's summer in the north again. Then it comes around, and now it's laying down flat right here. Flat. And then it comes around. Oops. Comes around from flat, and now it's summer in the south again. You see how that works? So those are our two options. Either the Earth is transiting the Sun with the Sun's equatorial plane at 60-degree tilt, and the Earth's natural line of tilt would be at 30 degrees, equaling 90 degrees total. The velocity of rotation, or the velocity of orbit, is creating that extra 6.5 degrees total, the polar incline towards the Sun. It is the actual velocity of the Earth's orbit that creates that extra 6.5 degrees. So this is what's going on. Something within the sun or outside of the sun is creating a polar flip like this as well, because, and it could also be due to the sun's orbit around the galaxy itself, which is pulling all the other planets around with it, and that orbit is not just a straight line orbit. It's a spiral, and that spiral is going, as spirals do. So that's also going to be in conjunction with another part of my theorem, is that solar minimum and solar maximum exists on each part of the sun, and we go on each side of the sun for 5.5 years. We don't just transit the sun in 1 year of orbit. That 1 year consists of a polar flip within the sun itself. And that 1 year, the polar flip of the sun, it creates the 4 seasons within the Earth. The Earth is traveling with the sun in a manner that's, the sun is just holding the Earth like this, and it's traveling across just like this, with rotation and everything. Let me show that one more time. It's coming across. Hopefully it's not going to be drawing us in like that, but it's coming across. We have rotation, and then it lays itself down with the polar flip, and then it comes back up like that, you see, and then continues, and it's continuing all the way. It's continuing its trick, and it's just the degree of tilt that causes the rotation and the follow through and the whole thing. I could make it go along and along and along. And so the sun is coming through, it's doing this, and as it comes around, its orbit like that, or it's what we call it's a spiral. Half the spiral is 5.5 years, the other half of the spiral is another 5.5 years, giving us solar minimum and solar maximum. And with solar minimum and solar maximum, that consists that gives us one full spiral of the sun. And that is the basis of my theorem at this point. But what I can give you for 100% guarantee is the fact that what science is telling us today, that the Earth orbits the sun in a transit underneath the sun's equatorial plane, it is completely 100% magnetically impossible. So with that, I'll end this video, and hopefully I'll get some comments from people, and maybe we can figure this out all together. Okay? And thank you very much for watching, and have a great day.